Welcome to Adeptus On-Air, the show where we examine how individuals and companies make decisions that drive their business and personal success. Each week, we connect with notable professionals who pull back the curtain on the industries that Adeptus has been on the cutting edge of for the last 30 years, including music, sports, and entertainment, as well as new emerging markets. Welcome to our latest edition of Adeptus On Air, and today we have another special guest, entrepreneur, investor, DJ, model, former professional soccer player, a man of many, many great talents, Tim Guercio. Thank you for joining us today, Tim. And if you can just to start chronologically, if you can, just take us back to the beginning and just tell us your upbringing and kind of how that influenced you and brought you to the great space you're at today.
Yeah. Well, first I got to say thanks, James, for having me, and happy for you and all of what Adeptus is doing. So keep it
Thank
up.
you.
It's a really great value to many people. And yeah, my name's Tim Guercio. As you heard in the intro, I do a lot, but not, I guess, in a sense of most of them are hobbies. But mainly I'm a businessman. I was born in Mongolia. Most people don't even know where Mongolia is. That's okay. I'm usually the first Mongolian someone's ever met. Pretty cool. So I was born in the, I guess, slums of Mongolia. And then my mom met my stepdad in the Peace Corps. He just finished college and my stepdad didn't really know what he wanted to do. So he ended up going to Mongolia, teaching English there. My mom was last year student, learning from him. They fell in love, and then they brought me to America. And
Wow.
I guess, yeah, super grateful. I got brought into a really amazing family that is the strong foundation that allows me to do everything I do today, knowing that if I fail or whatever happens, that I have a great family.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And you mentioned most people don't know where Mongolia is. If you can just, for the audience, how would you point it out on a map or maybe a closest country that people would recognize if someone asked you, where is Mongolia?
Yeah, it's this small plot of land in between China and Russia.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of landlocked, so it's right there. And I have this belief where I feel like China or Russia at any moment could just be like, all right, we're going to take it
Yeah.
over. And I don't think there's much we could do about it.
Yeah, it's that kind of world, unfortunately, right now where, a lot of stuff can happen, especially in that region of the world. How did you find yourself into so many things, so many passions? I mean, I know people, especially at my younger age, that still trying to find, their mission, their it kind of in life and things like that. And, just in the intro alone, I mean, it's like 5, 6 things that you were highly passionate about. How did you get that love and that drive for so many different things?
Yeah, so I guess I'll just finish up my entire story and then we can get in there. So basically moved to the States when I was 6 and been in Charlotte, North Carolina ever since. I grew up playing a lot of sports and soccer with my wonderful uncle and cousin. And then I ended up playing in college soccer as well, and then learning business management there. And then I went pro, and then during that time the Mongolian national team called me up, so I had to live in Mongolia for 2 years while I did that. So that was amazing. And then I realized I wasn't making Messi or Ronaldo money, if you know who that is in the soccer world.
Yep.
And so I said, all right, it's not fulfilling me in the type of money I want to make. So I came back to America and started a couple businesses. I always knew I wanted to be a businessman. So I had a couple businesses, and then my most successful one right now is a Christmas lighting business. We do about $500,000 in 2 to 3 months, and we started a private equity firm about 4 months ago, last year, to expand that business rapidly because we were able to systematize it really well. And now, being in the investment world, I'm connected to a lot of investors and deals, so I get to be able to be at the center of all of that as well and help deals get done or investors meet their financial goals. That's all that in a nutshell. And James, you were asking me with all the titles, how do you find passion, or how do you,
Mhm.
find things like that? Most of them, for me, my biggest, it's first, like, what are my core values in life? And it's always been family. First, it's always God, family, accountability, and honesty. And growing up, I always just knew especially soccer, it taught me how to work hard. I was never the strongest or the fastest or the tallest. I was always the underdog, I guess you could say.
Mhm.
So I just continue to work hard, even though I didn't fit into a team or I didn't fit in somewhere. I'd continue to just work hard and believe in myself and say, okay, maybe this team didn't work out, but I know there's other options out there that would value what I have. So then that escalated into, I guess, my professional world of business, and just saying, okay, hey, I know I'm learning and growing. It's a journey like anything else. Um, so just, yeah, I guess just keep at it. Maybe a client doesn't work out. Maybe something doesn't work out. But and maybe some things do. But through that journey, you get to experience what you like yourself. You get to know who you are as a person. What things make you happy. What things don't make you happy. So I work really hard, and lastly, just I work really hard, like 9 to 5, to do everything I can. I guess for business related, and then other times after five, my other 5 to 9 or whatever, I just do like fun things that make me enjoy life. So that's where I got to be able to be a DJ and really enjoy music. Where I did modeling for a while, where I acted and stuff like that. So.
It's awesome, man. That's really awesome. And you answered part of my next question, but I'll ask it anyway. Maybe you want to elaborate. What kind of lessons did you learn from sports that apply to business and just your everyday life in general?
Man, so many things. You can literally take anything and let it be a lesson for you. So it's all about mindset and the way you thought about it. You're going to have failures in life. You're going to have disappointments. You're going to have death and sadness, but you have to be able to overcome all of those things. And life will be okay. And at the end of the day, life will end too. And you just have to say, hey, I gave it my best. I gave it my all. And now, that's really about it.
Yeah.
Some things that I've learned, just like straight, one of the biggest things, just straight hard work. Like
Mhm.
there's never a day where I don't think there's never a period of time where you're just like, oh, I want to do this. I want to do this. I can't wait to get into the gym. I can't. No, like most days you're not going to want to do it.
Yeah.
You're not
Yeah.
gonna you're not gonna want to wake up at 5 in the morning, go to the gym. You're not gonna want to sit down and do all the boring stuff that no other business owner wants to do. It's not always flashy and fun. It gets boring and tiring, especially in sports. You have to physically run or physically train, and then you have to take care of yourself, nutritionally and all that stuff. So just one of them is definitely straight. Just you have to do the work.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you a quick story before I ask my next question. How I'm using sports to teach my son. I have a 7-year-old who plays soccer, and I'm teaching him to focus on the process and not the result. And what I mean by that is, I'll give you an example. A couple weeks ago, he was playing his heart out. The team that he played was probably better than the team that he's on, and he was playing his heart out. He scored a goal. He scored the first goal. The other team scored 2 goals. They were down 2-1, and he's trying to fight through three guys to score. And so he finally gets in the last possession of the game, before the end of the game. He finally got a breakaway, and he missed the game tying kick wide right. The goalie didn't get there, but it sailed right. And he, obviously he was sad and dejected. But I was told him that it's the effort and the process, and the as hard as he played, all those things are valuable lessons that if you don't focus on the result, the fact that he just missed it wide right, on that goal. Just everything that he did was so positive to kind of keep fighting, and then he earned that opportunity to try to tie the game at the end. There's things that even in parenthood, I think through sports that you can learn and teach, through life. Um, but yeah, just sharing that story.
No, that's amazing. And I'm happy for you and your son to be able to play sports and experience that. You need stuff like that. And one thing that I was grateful for, I was able to help my youngest brothers last season in high school soccer. I was able to help be the coach and help my dad coach as well. Um, and we were in the and we were talking about this with my dad. We were just talking about, okay, at the end of the season, yes, in life you're gonna lose and win. You can try your hardest and you did everything you can, but you are gonna lose, and you need to be able to learn how to lose as well. You're gonna lose, but if you did everything you could have done, or if you did everything we said we were gonna do, you actually won. If
Exactly,
you were able
exactly.
to pass it, if you were able to shoot it 5 times and it didn't go in, but your goal was to shoot it 5 times, you actually won.
Yep,
No matter the result, you have
yeah,
to have a really great, I guess, positive mindset like
yeah.
that as
Yeah, and I think it's kind of easy to focus on the results, the wins and losses, the amount of goals or whatever it is in life. But yeah, I think the process and the effort, and I tell my kids all the time, if they give their best effort and put in their best work, more often than not, the results are going to take care of itself. It doesn't mean you're going to win all the time, but the results, it's going to be positive more often than not. Um,
well. Yeah.
but speaking of business, tell us about the Christmas team, and I'm just fascinated by the story. I saw some of the news clips that you had, on TV and everything, and your interviews and everything. So just tell me how that came about.
Yeah. So I always knew I wanted to be a business owner, and part of that, I knew what helped build that was just I had confidence in myself to be able to do it. I knew I could do the work required. I knew I cared about people to be able to give them what they paid for. I just cared about doing right by people as well, and that's so important in business. But with my Christmas business, I first started off with a digital marketing company, and I had no idea how to make websites or anything like that. I knew how to post on social media. So I got a digital marketing course and learned that. And then I found out that you don't have to necessarily know how to do all these things. If you know someone that can do it and you can pay them and you can make a portion in the middle, that's kind of what business has really turned into as well. And that's actually how you scale a business as well, being able to scale your production. So with my digital marketing company, I was getting jobs here and there, but I was learning a lot about digital marketing and how marketing works. And I really, at the end of the day, I would say I'm a pretty good marketer just in general. And then I had a couple, and then I saw some people putting up Christmas lights in, a middle class neighborhood. So then I had some high end clients, and I pitched it to my high end clients, and they loved it. And I found out just it started coming in like wildfire, another person,
Wow,
and it was just amazing. So I
wow.
just found a little niche that um, was really in demand.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you, Christmas lights isn't the foremost thing that comes to mind, but it looks like you saw someone putting up Christmas lights, and that kind of got a light bulb off, in your head. It's a how do I say it? It's a seasonal business, I guess. Like no one's buying Christmas lights in March, kind of thing. Not to broad brush it, but just to kind of so how does that work as a business owner of a product that's so seasonal? Like I'm sure maybe October, November, December is, full go. But
Mhm.
how do you handle that in say April and June and July? What happens in those months?
Yeah. So one of the biggest things you do as a business owner is your biggest job is to solve problems.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's how you make the big bucks. That's where the executive makes all the money. That's where the CEOs really get paid to do. Um, so I saw it as a blessing and a curse. I was able to make 50,000 in 2 months. The first season, just putting up Christmas lights, and it's not overly complicated. Once you put up 2, 3 houses, you're good.
Yeah.
Um, so I see it, sometimes I say it's a blessing and a curse, but it's the biggest blessing in the world, just because it made me have to be a better businessman. It made me have to say, okay, I have this short amount of window. Now, how do I build a business out of something like this? How do I build something scalable? How do I build something that doesn't have to rely on me? Or how do I start training other people? So it made me have to really make the best of the season. How do I duplicate myself? But it was also really great in the sense that it was almost like a professional sports or just a sports season as well. Like, you have your season where you just, all that stuff you learned, you go put your head down, you're doing everything you can to win and close out the season. Then after the season, you get to take a step back and say, okay, I get to reevaluate my season. I get to reevaluate my business. Here's where here's where me as a professional athlete could have been better, or here's the places I need to improve. Now I can get an action plan of how to improve on those things. So how did it correlate to my Christmas business? Okay, so we had these frustrations. I had this problem that I wanted to be better at. So if I wanted to be better, or if I knew, if I wanted to be better, I knew I would have to have an action plan and actually go through it. But it allowed me that headspace and freedom to be able to learn those things, as opposed to just be so caught up in the business, in the rat race, that you don't have a time to step back.
Yeah, and that's a very good point because, some businesses are year round and, they don't have that opportunity to really self reflect and self scout and how to improve. They kind of have to do it constantly on the fly and solve problems. So, that's a very good point. How did COVID-19 impact your business positively or negatively? How was that year and a half or 2 year period for you?
Yeah. And one thing I wanted to add was, and during
Could,
the
could you hear me?
after the Christmas season, I've
Oh,
always had something else I wanted to do. I felt like it was a duty for me to find something else for my workers. But it was also a duty for me to continue to build like different businesses. So I've had both successful and unsuccessful businesses, but it also allowed me to find out what I really wanted to be as a business owner. Like, I had a landscape company, and I really, after 2 years, making $1 million, I was like, I really don't want to do this. Like, I really don't want to be a landscaper. Nothing against them, but it just didn't fulfill me. I always wanted to be in the investment world, in the finance world. So it had, I had to get there to understand that this isn't me. But if I never got there, then maybe I would have gotten there and say, okay, this is all I'm gonna do, and I would have been stuck doing that.
yeah, yeah. No, very good point.
Um,
Tell me
uh,
a little bit more about the investment side and how you got into that and just what your mission is there.
yeah, thank you. And then I wanted to ask the answer to the COVID question, because COVID, honestly, it really didn't affect me. It might have been even better, honestly, but uh, honestly, when during COVID, it was fine. My industry, Christmas business, is recession proof. So Christmas comes every year unless there's a world takeover of another religion. In America, there's going to be Christmas every year. So super great. So it really didn't affect me, and that was good. Yeah. And in the investment world, I think you asked, how did I get into it, or how is it? It's been really amazing. I've been having so much fun. I feel fully in tune with where God wants me, and I feel like this is the vehicle that I've always wanted to be in, and now I get to be in it, and I'm putting full force into it, and I've just been having a lot of fun.
So awesome. What is the next 10? What does the next 5 years look like? For you as um, it seems like you're a very fluid person. Can use your talents in many different spaces and wherever your passions lie, you kind of go with it. So what are your goals over the next 5 years? What does that look like for you?
Yeah. And you said one thing in there that I thought was really important. You said I'm fluid and I have all these skills, and yes, we have all these skills within us, but you have to be able to do the work required to acquire that skill.
Hmm.
So I've paid probably over $100,000 in self development and coaching,
Yeah.
professional programs. That I would honestly say is closer to 200,000. And with
Wow.
how many people can say I spent $200,000 to better improve myself, my leadership, my sales, my team to do that. I guess now that I say it, people do it all the time, like big corporations. But independent business owners,
Yep.
they're thinking about, oh, I need to use this money for my family. I need to use this money for, you know, buying my daughter a car, whatever. So any skill that you want, you can acquire. You just have to put in the work. So I said in the investment world, how do I acquire this skill of building a private equity firm? I didn't go to Harvard. I didn't go to Yale. That's why most of these people go to learn things like this. And now with the internet, you can literally learn it and do it correct. And there's a community of people that'll help you. That's wanting to help you. So where does 5 years from now look like? Where does a year look like? Honestly, I'm just so in love with the journey that I know I'm in a space where it'll take care of me financially. It'll fulfill me where I want to be. And even if not, no, I mean, I don't even think there's a if not, like I would, there is. I just love it. Just continuing to build on it, continuing to help not only investors, but also fund managers and deals as well. I get to be a super connector and I get to be a helper, which I love. And I get to pick and choose who I want to help. I get to pick and choose people and companies that fulfill my life and things that matter in my life. And that's really amazing. So just going to keep doing the work.
It's awesome, man. And what advice would you have for the youth? It's a crazy world out there. Who knows? The world's moving so fast. It's probably going to look very different 10 years from now than it is today. So, say someone graduate college or high school. What would your advice be for that person?
There's so many things I could say. I guess first I'll start off with ask for help. Find people like I would not be here where I am today without the help of so many people that I've asked for help and that's poured into me, even coaches that I've had to pay. Like you have to realize people let's say there's people, billions of people before you that have gone through the same problem and have overcome it and they have the answers you need, and there's going to be billions of people in the future that's going to have the same problem as you and they've overcome it or they decided not to. So just, it's out there, make it known to the world. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable and ask for help. The minute you realize how powerful asking for help is, the minute you've literally realized you've unlocked the world to do whatever you want.
Wow, wow, that's powerful, powerful advice. And yeah, it's okay to say that you don't know. Sometimes saying that gets more information than you to pretend that you know everything. That's a good, very
Yeah.
good point.
People are there to help. People want to help you. People want to leave. Uh, yeah. The world itself it's a wholesome world. They want to help you. You just have to present yourself as that. And then one thing I also wanted to say to kids is, man, calendar is so important. But one thing, if you don't calendar something, calendar time you spend away from the phone.
Mm,
Like, so one thing I learned from my sales coach is 9 to 5 is money making time. So if that's your money making time, put your phone away, dude. Like,
yep.
or when people, you spend so much time on your phone fantasizing, seeing all these people with success. Okay, you're comparing yourself to someone that's a level 20. They had to get there. You're at level 1 or you're at level 2 and you have to do the work to get to level 20. And if you just keep reminiscing about level 20 and when you'll get there, you're not going to appreciate one, you're not going to do the work that it really took to get there, and you're seeing the end result. Yeah, and two, I guess you're not going to be happy. You end up.
Yeah.
So,
No,
yeah.
that's great. No, that's great advice. That's tremendous advice, Tim. And finally, just tell us your social medias. Where can people find you? Maybe there's people out there that want to reach out and get that advice of, hey, I'm at a level 2. How do I get to level 10 or what have you? So where can people find you online?
Yeah. Hey, Adeptus community, James's community, like, please just, I'll try my best to get back to you, or I'll have my staff get back to you on my behalf, but just reach out. Like, I'm telling you to reach out to me if you need help, if you need questions, relationships, spiritual, professional, personal, soccer, not soccer, all these things that you learn in the professional world, or just all these things that you learn throughout life. It can be applied in a lot of different areas. And you don't ask Toyota driver how to get a Lamborghini. You ask a Lamborghini driver how do you get a Lamborghini, and they'll tell you everything you need. So don't be afraid to reach out to me. Don't be afraid to reach out to my man here too. I'm here for you. So many people have been available for me. I want to be available for you guys.
Awesome, Tim. Thank you for everything. We'll put your social stuff in the show notes and everything.
Socials,
Or if you,
Tim Guercio. Yeah, Tim Guercio, Asian dude with a suit on and probably red ring around my picture. But I'm probably the only Asian Tim Guercio you'll see.
awesome, man. Really appreciate the time and the inspiration and the advice, Tim. And thank you, everyone, for listening to our latest version of Adeptus On Air. Thank you very much.
Thanks for listening to Adeptus On Air. If you like this episode, please subscribe and leave a review. The views and opinions by the podcast speakers and guests are solely their own and do not reflect the opinions of Adeptus. This podcast provides general information only and is not intended to constitute advice.